back to the Suns' end of season media availability for Mat Ishbia and Josh Bartelstein and James Jones. Mat Ishbia was asked why things went wrong this season.
There's a lot of reasons. The way I look at it is, I do think that we had a much better roster than a 36-win team, right? And I think on the court, every game, we did not play better than a 36-win team. We did not compete hard enough. We did not make adjustments well enough. There's a lot of things we could have done differently. But from my view, it ties to, we didn't play the way a lot of other teams are playing, and really what we believe in here, which is with a lot of, there's a lot of grit, defensive. I mean, you can talk about defense, was 28th in the league or whatever it was. Like, that's just not what we're going to be about, right? And so I think there's a lot of things, and there's a disconnect from what we believe we should be playing like and what we actually saw on the floor. And that's why we made one change so far, and we will make other changes to make sure that the Phoenix fans know what to expect and are proud of what we have out there.
Well, there you go right there. Grits. Does that sound like a toughness issue? It does to me, and I think that's what he was alluding to. On the defensive end of the floor, so much of the time, Bassonians, it does. That's where it shows up, especially when you're talking about the NBA. It's where it shows up on the defensive end of the floor. It was interesting just watching the Dallas Mavericks play last night, and AD, of course, was out there playing. And we know how good they are as a defensive unit when AD is out there on the floor as well. They were tough. Just watching them play, it looked like an NCAA tournament game to me. If you just zoomed out and just looked at the bodies moving on the court and how they were moving. It is a toughness issue. You can call it grit. You can call it whatever you want to, but defense and the defensive end of the floor is where it shows up.
Well, defense was a recurring theme throughout today's press conference. I'm looking on one of the TVs right here, and they have Nico Harrison in Dallas saying defense wins championships. I mean, if you don't have defense, you notice it. And the Suns noticed it in a big way this season. I mean, I do credit Mat Ishbia for the accountability he took all throughout the press conference. Again, it's his money. We all are emotionally upset by it. I would assume, is emotionally upset. He sure seems like that. And he's losing a bunch of money on it. Now, he did point out today, I'm not running this team to try and make money. I'm running this team to try and win. I think there's a lot of good things about Ishbia. I really do. But they do need to start winning. And I credit him there for not pretending that they were like a 55-win team that just got bad breaks and only won 36. He's right. They looked like a 36-win team, and that's how many wins they got.
There were so many things that Mat Ishbia actually said that I really liked. He said, I promise you we're going to win a championship. Now, is that going out on a limb?
How about this? Even beyond that.
So, yes, there's always going to be ups and downs in any business. Of course, I would love to win a championship my first 2 years as an owner. I promise you but it didn't happen. But I promise you we will. We will win championships with an S at the end here in Phoenix, and I'm going to be here for it with you guys, and we'll have a more fun press conference then.
That would be a much more fun press conference, yes.
Once again, I love the accountability. He went out there and he said what he said. I don't think it's wise for him to say it.
Not today,
I don't think
maybe.
it is. I don't think it's wise at all to say we're going to win championships. I don't think it was wise. Yet at the same time, sure isn't lacking circumference.
No,
I'll tell you that.
I mean, this is just such a weird time in Suns history because, again, I want my owner to be trying to win championships and not just have the team as a business that he occasionally checks in on or whatever. But at the same time, they're not winning a championship like next year. So that quote is going to follow him around for a little while, even if they do eventually win championships, because they're going to strip this down around Devin Booker. Mat Ishbia was also asked when he noticed things weren't on track this season, like when it really started to go bad.
Definitely noticed it wasn't on track, probably, right around the New Year time frame. We tried a lot of different things to make it get back on track, and it didn't work. How do I change and pivot fast, right? And we tried to do some stuff, and we did some things in the middle of the season, and we made some changes, and there's all different things, and probably, I promise you, thousands of discussions, probably tens of thousands with them, and probably they included me in 10 or 100 of them, but lots of discussions to make us better and what we tried. And we tried different things, and it didn't resonate and it didn't work. And once again, I keep going back to, what are we about here? And let's define that, and let's make sure the players, the coaches, the GM, the front office, the scouts, the fans, the media all know. And I think that starts today. And so I will be better with that. And that's why I'm here, and I'm here to take the blame and accountability. And, obviously, like I said, I don't think there aren't that many other owners, whether they make the playoffs or don't make the playoffs, that sit up in front of you guys and take the questions. And I'm good with it.
Yeah, it's interesting that he pinpointed the end of December, right around January, right around the new year, I believe, is what he actually said. And when you think of that, you think of December 27th, a loss to Dallas, 98-89. You think of December 28th, a loss to Golden State. And then December 31st, a loss to Memphis. And then Indiana on the road, a loss to Indiana. They did win at Philly, but then they lost to Charlotte.
That's the one, January 7th.
Yes.
Because I remember when you and I were talking about this like a week ago. It was when did you start to think it was going bad? And I said early January, probably not for the same reasons Mat Ishbia did. My reasoning was, okay, they beat Denver on Christmas Day, but it was great, but it kind of highlighted they didn't have a lot of big wins like that this season against really good teams. And they followed it up with 4 straight losses, like you just said, and then had the win over Philly, but then lost to Charlotte. And once you lost that game to Charlotte, it was just like, man, they're not building any momentum. We're almost halfway through the season at that point. Things don't look right. They don't really look like they're getting better. And to hear him say that a lot of scrambling to try to fix things behind the scenes was going on, I mean, I guess it's good to hear that, but it didn't work.
Any other cuts you want to play right now in this beautiful part of the program?
There are, but we're gonna go to break.
Time is at a premium.
I would also say before we hit the break, one overarching thing. They all talked about the team needing to be more connected, and I don't know that anybody outright said this, but I mean, I listened to the whole press conference with you. It sure came across that Coach Bud was not connected with what they were trying to do or aligned with what they were trying to do. Did you get that impression?
There's no doubt about it. I think maybe it took Frank Vogel. Maybe it took Coach Bud. Maybe it took this experience to say, wait a minute, we're doing this the wrong way. We should have an idea as to what we want to do and how we want to look and how we want to play from a culture perspective. We should have this idea and then go out and find that person and then go out and populate our roster with those types of people. You got to be all pulling the same way. You're all pulling at the end of the rope the same direction. You have to do that. And I think they're coming to that realization.
Culture was a huge theme. We'll get into that a little bit later in the show, but culture and identity were a huge theme. They sounded like they want to do now what the Cardinals did 2 years ago. That's what it sounded like. So, look, I mean, as long as they're learning from it, that's Mat Ishbia's owned the team for 2 years. It's not like he's been here for 15.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.